Hey everybody, it's Pete. How you doing today? Welcome to a new episode of Stocks for Breakfast. Today we're going to talk about something interesting. You'd be surprised how every day I get emails, private messages inside the boot camp asking me, just tell me which stocks to trade today. Just tell me exactly what I should be doing today, and that would make things nice and easy for me. I understand the question. I absolutely understand where it's coming from. The challenge to that is, as a professional trader, as somebody who is actively trading the market, somebody who's uh, trades often and is always looking for those pockets of opportunity, I would say about 40% of the time it's that super obvious where you can say, oh, these are the only stocks you need to trade. But that changes on a weekly basis. So I might tell you on Monday, these are the right stocks to trade, let me take that back. These are the stocks that I'm going to be in my game, or I'm going to be looking at, and these are the stocks that are on my game plan today, because that moment, everything lines up, whether it's well bid, well offered, breaking out, inside candlestick, whatever it happens to be. But that could change by Thursday. In the window that I trade, which I trade order flow, but I'm really looking for cash flow. I'm looking to really boost I want my capital always working for me. So a lot of the investing principles are looking for longer term stuff you'll hold for years and look to make a nice return on that. I'm looking to capture that return every month. and that's what happens when you understand how to read the tape, understand how to read order flow. What I'm looking to do is piggyback on the smart money and make the easier trades, because it's obvious already. A lot of people make the mistake of where they think they have to get the top or get the bottom. Screw that. Just wait for it to be obvious and then find a spot to hop on board. But then you just need to know when that changes. So then you look for the next one, which is very easy to do. And I'm going to walk you through, there's a lot to it, but I'm going to walk you through the basics of it right now. And there's stocks that go in my list, stocks that come out of my list. Some stocks could stay in the list for months. And you might have a core group of stocks that no matter what, they're still obvious. And they stay there, but then some other stocks go in, some other stocks go out. And I get the question all the time, which I think is a good question, is what would make a stock come out of your list? And first is I start losing money in it. I just can't make any more money in it, or for whatever reason, the volume dries up, or it just goes into a trading range. Maybe it was really obvious and then it consolidates for a few weeks. And I'm not going to trade that because that's the right price right now. And until the market says it should be somewhere else, I'm going to go and then find something else that's obvious. So you have this choice. You have the choice of building this universe of stocks that you trade every day, which is pretty much the way I do it. I do my scans every day. I'm always looking for new opportunities every day. So let's just say, for argument's sake, I have a list of 20 stocks. I'm going to show you that list in just a second. That doesn't mean I'm trading all 20 every day. It means that they fit the criteria that when they're in play, they have really good volume and volatility. So there's a lot of smart money in those stocks where there's good liquidity. It's being pushed around. You start to tend to see large green or large red candles if you like to short sell on a regular basis. But sometimes they're out of play and the sector might not be in focus right now. There's not a lot of attention on it right now. I'll keep it in my list to want to know if and when it does start to light up, where I'll start to say, oh, this is the third day in a row. Maybe something's going on here. For example, JP Morgan and the financial stocks right now, I haven't traded them in a while because they have been a mess, quite honestly, for a good reason, right? But yet the last few days, they've perked up. They broke out. They've had higher highs and higher lows, but only a couple of days, like 1 or 2 days of buying. So you'll hear me say, if you're in the boot camp, there's not enough proof yet. The market, we're not looking at that yet. And the way we look at the market with the smart money and reading the tape, it's only 1 or 2 days worth of them committing money to it. So it's not enough proof that they're allocating on a regular basis yet. Yeah, it might have had attention for 1 or 2 days, but not yet. I want to see a little bit more proof. So ironically, yesterday, JP Morgan actually, after being up a few days, opened higher and just got absolutely crushed yesterday, which kind of backs up that whole statement that you need a little bit more proof. We had some financial stocks yesterday, airline stocks and cruise line stocks. If you watch the video that I did yesterday, I said they're not in play yet. They've been consolidating for the better part of a few months. They broke out for a couple of days, and everybody's like, oh, I need to get in. I got fear of missing out before they run. No, not yet. Smart money is only allocating money for 2 days. Why would you? It's not enough time. if you know anything about how to make more money, and that's time, you can either have really big positions for a short period of time, or you can let the stock breathe a little bit. And whether it's and again, for those of you that are not day trading, you can hold a position all day, you can hold a position for 3 to 5 days, and that extra time is where you make the extra money. But then how long has the smart money been allocating and building that position themselves? So you're not really creating trades for yourself. You're finding order flow, reading the tape at the right time, and then piggybacking on the smart money. And it couldn't be easier, quite honestly, when you do that. And congratulations to everybody in the boot camp yesterday who were doing a great job game planning. We're in the right stocks in the moment. We made money in AMD again yesterday. We made money in Penn again yesterday. Just some easier trades because we're recognizing the rotation. We're recognizing which trades are the most obvious right now, and then allocating those shares. And thankfully, the biggest problem, the biggest questions we're getting right now is how do I hold my winning trades longer, which we covered that in Monday night's coaching call too. And it was really awesome to see when people in the community implement what we talk about in the weekly coaching call. And the very next couple of days, they're using the strategy and using it to make money, which is, honestly, it's just awesome. There's no other greater feeling in the world than when you show somebody something different and they start applying it and they get results right away. It's pretty exciting. If you're not in the boot camp, click down and learn about it. It's just we have just an amazing group. So what we're going to do is we're going to start working backwards, and I'm going to show you one example of how to find the right stocks that are in play now. There's some minimum criteria, and like I said, I have my universe of everything I watch every day. But then you start to pay attention to which stocks are showing some signs of life, where the smart money from day to day and week to week is active in them, and the side that they're choosing starts to become more obvious. And that's really where trading becomes a lot less stressful, because now you're not trying to predict, you're not trying to pick a top, you're not trying to pick a bottom. You're literally saying, there it is. Find a spot to hop on board until the story changes. I talk about that every day in our game plan meeting. Here's what you want to see. Here's what you want to see. Okay, still good, still good, still good. Wait a minute, something changed. When something changes, how you trade that stock now changes. You reduce your share size, or you're really a lot more careful about when you add or build a position. You're a lot more careful about when you read the tape and it has to hit certain levels that tells you, okay, now today's buying is matching the longer term buying, despite this morning's selling, or despite Monday's selling. Now the week has reasserted itself and we're ready to go again. So it's kind of cool that we're never predicting, we're just paying attention, which makes trading a heck of a lot easier. And then we're just finding a spot to get on board. And once you got those first two pieces, then we have the greatest problem in the world, which is how do I hold good trades longer, which, gosh, that's a great problem to have, right? So we're going to head over to the charts. We're going to work our way through what a universe looks like, why, and then we're going to take a look at a bunch of ETFs, and we're going to say, okay, out of all of these, what looks interesting, and which one of these should I now go and find those stocks to trade? So we're going to hop on over. Let me head over to the screen. So the first thing we're going to take a look at here is on the right side, which is, you could screenshot this, you could take a look at it whenever you want, but this is this is not my whole universe, but this is a part of the universe that I watch every day. And like I said, these stocks are not all in play every day. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. And if you're a member of the boot camp, you understand how I set up the watch list and teach you to set up the watch list so that you can have a list of 50 stocks. It wouldn't matter. When the watch list is set up properly, you only need to focus on the ones that are screaming at us, saying, watch me. Those are the ones that you should be trading right now, and everything else gets ignored. And that's a big problem to overcome for a lot of traders, is there's too much going on. It's moving too fast. That simply means that you don't yet understand how to use the watch list. So once you have your list and have your universe and understand how to use the watch list, 90% of those stocks might not be the right stock to trade that day. And then you only trade the 10% that is screaming at you, I have attention on me, look at me, look at me. And that's when trading becomes easier, quite honestly, because now you're not all over the place. So like, that's what I'm looking for. Those stocks are doing exactly what I want them to do. That's where trading becomes a lot less stressful. And quite honestly, it becomes easier to be profitable. And if you're struggling right now, I don't know what you're waiting for. You should be in the boot camp, because the 30 days of being together and everything that you get, it outweighs one trade, one losing trade for 30 days of working together. It's just really, honestly, it's a no-brainer. So anyway, these are the stocks. You could pause the video if you want to write them down. And again, I don't trade them all every day. I trade them when it's obvious, when there's something to do. But they're in the list first because it meets minimum criteria for what I look at. But let's just say, for argument's sake, now I'm going to go into the ETFs, the larger list of ETFs that I have. And you can see that there's a large group of ETFs that I feel represents the larger economy. It represents everything that if it tells me all the money is on one page, it'll be all red or all green. If I see my watch list is half red and half green, I'm like, all right, that's a sign to me that the market's really stock specific. And if it's stock specific, then which of those stocks am I going to take a look at? So let's just say, for argument's sake, that we're looking at stocks from 1 week to the next, 1 week to the next. So you can see here that the XLV, which is healthcare, obviously a big issue in the country right now, at or near a big breakout level. So in this particular instance, last week is what we call an inside candlestick, and now we're trading at the highs, looking at a new breakout. Excuse me. So now I want to dive a little bit deeper into this stock that, this ETF or area of the market that has attention on it. I'm sorry. So I'm going to go over to Yahoo Finance, very, very simple, and I'm going to look up the XLV, and then we're going to scroll down, and we're going to look at the top holdings in the XLV. And these stocks represent 51% of the XLV. So that's the first step. You could take a look at these stocks and then look to see which of those stocks should be in play and should be a part of your watch list today. Another way to do that is then you'd go over to FinViz, again, a free scanner that we use, and you would click on healthcare. So now healthcare pulls up 997 stocks. So obviously we're not going to watch 997 stocks. First thing we're probably going to want to do is look at large cap stocks, right? So minimum of a large cap stock, which, by the way, the fact that the ad popped up tells you that I'm using the free service. So I'm showing that you can do this all with the free service. So that just brought up 93 stocks. But now I want to filter this down even more. I want, for my criteria, I want the average volume to be 2 million shares per day. So there's liquidity every day. And now I want average true range of at least $1.50. So this tells me that there's opportunity in that stock. So it moves at least $1.50 on a regular basis. So we just filtered down 997 stocks down to 21 in a sector that we like, that has institutional smart money attention on it right now. So we're going to actually bring this down a little further and sort it by change. And now this gives us a list of stocks to potentially look at. So now we drill down even deeper into these stocks and say, okay, which of these opportunities look the best based on the fact that this sector is taking off, the fact that this sector is at or near all-time highs. And now you start to go over to your other charts. You're like, okay, so just for argument's sake, let's take a look at HZNP has been in the list. It's been called out in our coaching calls quite a bit. So we look at HZNP, and that's the weekly chart of HZNP. So we go to the daily. It's consolidating now, and actually really consolidating. So we have a gap up in 5 days of consolidating. And you can see the week actually is a weekly inside candlestick, a daily inside candlestick. So this would absolutely be in my list because this matches the overall sector. So I might have my bigger list of individual stocks that I'm looking at, which I call my universe. All right, I'm looking at my universe every day. And then we find a pocket of opportunity where the smart money is giving attention to some stocks. And then those stocks that are obvious within that obvious sector, the leaders within that sector, then those kind of like maybe one or two of those make their way into my universe, and they'll stay in my universe as long as those stocks have attention on them. So it's actually not that hard to find good ideas, but the challenge that I think most traders have is that they find a really good pocket. They find a really good group of stocks, and then those stocks fall out of play, and they become a little bit more challenging to trade, but they continue to mentally think, well, this stock was easy 2 weeks ago, it has to always be easy. And that's just silly, quite honestly. So you have to pay attention to, are you trading strength in addition to where it's been, or are you trading a pullback in the direction of longer term strength? And now you got to work the order a little bit because it's the same stock, but a little bit different scenario. So it's kind of fun to really put those pieces together. I'm kind of well known where I do my game planning on the 7 o'clock at night, and then 7 a.m. I review those. So it's really your job as a trader to do a little bit of homework. It doesn't matter how big your universe is. It's going to, that the size of the universe is going to be dictated by your experience level, your capital, your resources, your education, your skills. But it could be 5 stocks. It doesn't have to be as big as mine. It could be 5, and those are the only 5 that you trade. If you find that the 5 that you're trading are a little bit harder, then just do a little bit more searching for gold, and go and find where some ETFs have attention. That's the easiest way to do it. Go into a scanner and say which sectors are the strongest right now, and then drill down a little bit and say which of these are really, can I say that the smart money is active in this stock right now and building a position. And then you just piggyback what they're doing. You don't need to pick a top or a bottom. Just piggyback the smart money and find a spot to enter. It couldn't be easier, quite honestly. Easy, but then the last part is actually understanding how to make money on the trade. And that's kind of like the super secret stuff that we have behind the curtain in the boot camp. We actually have to really learn and really drill down in the entry signals, which is a big part of the questions, especially for newer traders. But once you get the entries, then it becomes just a question of opportunity at that point. So hopefully you understand that it's our job to piggyback, not really pick a top or bottom. It's obvious if you know how to look and drill down a little bit deeper. And then you have a universe, you have their other stocks in play, and they kind of match. But the biggest thing I want to get across is the same stocks aren't in play all the time. It could be one day, it could be Apple, the next day it could be Facebook. That's super obvious. It's our job as a community to make sure that we're in the right stocks at the right time. Could be for a day, it could be for a week, it could be for a month, as long as that stock's in play. So it's kind of fun to put the pieces together as long as you have a structure. It becomes overwhelming and confusing when you're not sure what to look at. But once you understand what to look at, which is order flow, and then finally reading the tape, there's no guessing anymore. It's just, okay, I know exactly what I should see. And if I do see it, I'm going to feel confident. If I don't see it, I just step back and I'm like, no, not yet. There's nothing to do there yet. So I'll find something else. There's no reason to bang my head against the wall because it's not obvious. I'll give you a good example. Actually, I want to just do one more example of a stock that a lot of people like to trade that really has not been obvious until yesterday. And this kind of gives a good example of what we were talking about. Tesla, since earnings, has really been, prior to earnings and into earnings, has really been in a trading range since July. And this is a daily chart. The stock, since beginning of July, the stock really has not had that much attention on it. It hasn't declined that much, but it really had, other than earnings, there really hasn't been much to do. The smart money has not been committing capital where you're starting to see the stock. I don't want to give away the secrets here that we talk about in the boot camp, but yesterday was interesting. Yesterday, the stock finally woke up. But does that mean you should have aggressively traded it yesterday? Does that mean you'd be like, oh, now I got to start building a swing trade? No, it was one day. That's a good example of what I'm basically mentioning about how many days in a row, how many weeks in a row, how many months in a row has the smart money been committing capital to that, and identifying how you identify that. That was only one day. So that's a good example of no, not yet. And a lot of the airline stocks bounced for 2 or 3 days, and that was it. And I said yesterday, I was banging on the table, not yet, and they all collapsed yesterday. So that's how you start to put the pieces together, and that's how trading becomes a lot less stressful and, quite honestly, a lot easier to be in the right trades. Like I said, then that last little piece is understanding how to make money. So hope this video is helpful. Absolutely, please click down and subscribe, and I'd love to see you in the boot camp. Have a great day, everybody.